Have you ever noticed this strange pattern? At night, everything feels possible. You suddenly want to change your life. You plan to wake up early, eat better, work harder, focus, improve. And it feels real. It feels serious. But the next day arrives, and none of it happens. You feel tired, unmotivated, almost confused about why last night felt so different. Most people blame laziness, some blame discipline, but the real reason is psychological. And once you understand it, this pattern becomes predictable. At night, your brain is not preparing to act, it's preparing to imagine. During the day, your brain is under constant pressure, deadlines, noise, social interaction, decisions, fatigue. By night, most of that pressure disappears. There are no demands. No one expects anything from you right now. And that's when motivation shows up. But here's the trap. That motivation isn't real motivation. It's low-cost motivation. Your brain loves ideas that don't require immediate effort. Planning feels productive because it gives you a sense of control without pain. Psychologically, this is called temporal distance. Anything that exists in the future feels easier than something you must do now. Your brain discounts effort when it's delayed. So at night, waking up early feels easy. Working out feels easy. Studying feels easy. Not because it is easy, but because you're not paying the cost yet. And when there is no cost, the brain is generous with ambition. Another thing is happening here. At night, your brain releases dopamine, not from action, but from anticipation. When you imagine a better version of yourself, your brain rewards you as if you've already made progress. You feel good just by thinking about change. That's dangerous, because your brain can't always tell the difference between progress and the idea of progress. So you plan, you promise yourself things, you mentally rehearse success, and that dopamine hit tricks you into feeling accomplished. Then morning comes, and everything flips. Now the cost is real. Your alarm goes off, your body is tired, your mind is foggy. You have responsibilities again. The same tasks you felt excited about now require energy, focus, discomfort. And your brain says no. Not because you're weak, but because now the threat system is active. Effort feels risky, failure feels possible, discomfort feels immediate. At night, there was no risk. In the morning, there is. So motivation collapses. This is why motivation based on feelings is unreliable. It changes with context. Night motivation feels powerful because nothing is asking anything from you. Morning reality exposes whether that motivation was real or imaginary. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most night motivation is not motivation to act, it's motivation to feel better. Planning makes you feel hopeful. Hope reduces anxiety, so your brain uses planning as emotional relief. That's why people plan at night and procrastinate during the day. The plan wasn't about action, it was about comfort. Another psychological factor at play is ego protection. At night, you don't have to prove anything. Your identity is safe. But during the day, action risks failure. Failure threatens identity. So your brain avoids action to avoid damage to self-image. Thinking about doing something makes you feel like the kind of person who would do it. Actually doing it puts that image at risk. This is why people love goals but hate systems. Goals are abstract and flattering. Systems are boring and demanding. Now let's talk about why this cycle repeats. Each night you promise yourself you'll do better tomorrow. That promise relieves guilt from today. So tomorrow never really arrives. Psychologically, this is called moral licensing.
You forgive yourself today because you plan to be better later. The promise becomes the reward. Over time, this creates a habit loop. Stress during the day, fantasy at night, disappointment in the morning. Repeat. And the longer this loop runs, the more confusing it becomes. You start thinking, why can't I stay motivated? What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You're just mistaking clarity without cost for motivation. Real motivation looks different. Real motivation is quiet. It doesn't show up as excitement. It shows up as willingness. Willingness to act without feeling ready. Willingness to do something small even when energy is low. That's why people who rely on motivation fail, and people who rely on structure win. So how do you break this pattern? Not by hyping yourself at night. Night motivation is cheap. Anyone can feel inspired when nothing is required. The fix is simple but uncomfortable. You stop planning at night, or at least you stop planning big. Instead of promising a better life tomorrow, you choose one small action that starts immediately in the morning. Not a goal, not a routine, one action. Something so small it doesn't trigger resistance. Because action creates real dopamine, not imagined dopamine. And once action happens, motivation follows, not the other way around. This is the part most people get backwards. They wait to feel motivated before acting, but the brain doesn't work that way. The brain rewards movement, not intention. That's why people who don't feel motivated but still act often outperform motivated people. They're not waiting for the perfect feeling, they're using momentum. So the next time you feel motivated at night, pause. Ask yourself one question. What am I willing to do when this feeling is gone? If the answer is nothing, then what you're feeling isn't motivation, it's imagination. And imagination is free. Action is not. That's why mourning separates dreams from reality. And that's why the people who change their lives don't rely on night motivation. They build habits that survive the morning.